Hello YouTube. Here's World Mapping Studios. I'm your host HM here. Today we have a scenario where Woofia and Manilka's in the war. Now, to be fair, it's just North and South America. Very big, because we're gonna have it against is Woofia. Done. As you not remember from the last scenario of what if US versus China went to war against Woofia and Woofia won, what if they went to war against these neighbors? These countries, not neighbors, countries. And we're gonna see that happen unfold in this scenario. The war already started, so yeah. Right off the bat, Woofia decided to chapter Hawaii. Pretty obvious attack, flat invasion. I don't know what's going on with my phone, why I was doing it. There we go. Hawaii is shattered by Woofia, and Woofia is free to go in this North and South America, the two continents. We have Alaska being invaded by Woofia. Yeah, it's not looking look good for the US at first. But we have this to go with, Canada. And yeah, it's just not going so good for the US at all in Alaska. You might be borrowing about nuclear weapons because the US and Woofia are armed to the teeth with nuclear bombs. But I'm not allowed to use those. Or let's just say they're not allowed to use those at all in this scenario. So with that being said, conventional warfare is enabled. I'm somewhat allowing cyber warfare. By the way, Trump is having issues with immunity after this here, so it would take him a long time to get from there to troops personnel from there to the front lines in Alaska. Speaking of front lines, they just land. So they're done. They just land right here, and they land on this island, Vancouver Island, in Canada. They landed right here, and they landed right here. Mexico is not sending troops to the US because that will, not be good for the relationship or something like that. But if you zoom in, these landings make a lot of protests. I have no idea what's going on my phone right now. It's focusing on it. Really zoom out a little bit. Is that be better or not? I don't know. There we go. By the way, these landings made a lot of gains. And yeah, it's just not looking good for the US. Because California is the population center of 38 million people. So if the US lose that, then peace out with Woofia. And that won't be good for the Benelux at all. So the US decided to send troops from elsewhere, and that's elsewhere is Puerto Rico. And Japan, for example. You see these landings, these invasions, very well in Alaska. This is end of winter. We see Sacramento San Francisco was chaptered by Woofia. And yeah, let's just fast forward several months and see what happens. 1 month have passed, and this was the front look like. The US was pushed out of California, and they were going to be pushed out of Nevada and Washington. Seattle was chapter. I'm not sure it's actually right here or a little bit down here, but anyway, Seattle is chaptered by Wolfian forces. It's safe to assume that these Wolfian forces, Wolfian entire military is Imperial forces, so they can do whatever they want. Commanded by Lewis, the dictator of Woofia. aka the best leader of Woofia. I don't even know. Anyways, we do have land border with Mexico, but I don't really think they will do that because Mexico do have a fortified border with the US, not all the way, and the EU in a couple more months. Alright, 5 months have passed. This is what the borders look like. The war area will look like. I've got one tiny area. There we go. So, Woofia have a strategy. They will push in the western coast of the US and Canada. Then they will invade Mexico. That's their strategy. Down south, we have more American forces arriving in Canada. Arriving from. They were cut off either way. And capital of Alaska is now occupied by Wolfian forces. Wah, wah, wah. So don't get mad at Neo-Americans, because this is just a fake scenario. And that's A. And B, Woofia is by fake nation. It's not even real currency. And we can safely assume that Alaska surrenders to Woofia. Yeah, Bay has to surrender either way. Yes. Cannot reinforce that giant area without US help. This island was chaptered by Woofia. Oh, I didn't fill it in, so I'm doing. Canadians was very smart about the war tactics in this island, so. Woofia tape is time to chapter more territory as the US and Canadian troops regroup and rethink the plan or strategy for the retake Alaska. Oh, speaking of Alaska, Woofia just did something insane. They have invaded Mexico. Yes, sir. They invaded Mexico. I'm not sure how long Woofia invaded Mexico for. Probably a couple minutes. Oh. In the past, they didn't invade Mexico until now. Till modern day. I'm talking about my own real universe I'm building. If you want to join my Discord, you can do that on my channel homepage. That would be awesome. Anyways, time for another month or a couple months of fast forward. Alright, a couple months have passed and all the western coast of the US and Canada is chaptered by Woofia. US and Canadian forces managed to hold on to this gentle land, but they are afraid to push in because pushing out from here because they can reinforce it easily with these islands. As for Mexico, this time we got about this part of Baja California is definitely not existence to Mexico. The Great Salt Lake is being sheltered by two sides, and we can mostly see Brazil and other countries out here sending troops and supplies, and also volunteers. Well, volunteers and troops are still the same thing, and weapons to the US and Canada and Mexico. But little do they know, Woofia is actually planning on a second naval landing on the continent. Well, not North America, on South America. First, they chapter this island of Salvador, and to let them know that they are coming their direction. Salvador had no idea because they are a neutral nation and they are being invaded by Woofia. 2 naval landings and a lot of bombings were taking place. Coming up terrifying because if they falls, they will be next. So will Peru. So bases are to send a small, really mobilized people, or should I say unit, to the front. And they were not expecting this front to expand very rapidly. Because really do people know, well, you guys know that Woofia have robot tanks. Yes, folks, robot tanks. It's not like a person brain not out of a person body and put in a tank. a giant tank. No, it's actually different, but I will tell you that in a different video about it. So yeah, Kamiya is trying their best to push up Wolfian's forces. People see this as well and may not even care about it because they just have to fortify their own borders. But little do Peru know, Woofia is not actually going for Peru. It's going after Kamiya. And with that, I'm not sure if both continents want to agree with surrendering to Woofia. Surrendering and giving up is still the same thing. We can see the Panama Canal that sees like Woofia. And I'm not sure what the Panama capital is on this map. I didn't do a great job of naming capitals. I managed to do that, and we also managed to check this land too. So that made blockade easier for American ships. Blockade right here for American ships hard to go around here and protect right here and to bomb the hell out of Wolfing warships based in this island right here. So I have a piece of hair in my iPad because that's how it is right now, because I'm afraid of showing my hair to you all. So the Wolfian forces seizing the Panama Canal, they decided to move after the Central Asian Central American nations instead of moving after Colombia. So they move these troops away from Ecuador. Wait, no, not Ecuador. Is it Ecuador? I can't even know. And Colombia pushed back with Wolfian forces a little bit, but not a lot. The Dutch Wolfian forces on Panama, they can push American forces out of Panama and into Costa Rica. There is more American forces. Those American forces are now completely stranded and locked into a meat grinder for Wolfian restored and influence. Well, not influence. Restored order Central American Atari. Other nations remember Woofia as NATO. NATO doesn't exist. The UN says that to somehow help the Central American nations and also the two continents as well to stop Woofia from expanding. So here's what they do. The rest of the world send aid to the blue team. That is all of this land. France and the UK decided to fortify their own little things in South America. So basically, Woofia won't even invade them. We see Russian forces moving down to the Colombian border north, and then they Colombian troops to fall back. And they were pushed back. This war is exhausting but American resources, and Canadian is not even trying because a couple of weeks later they managed to chapter all this land away from Canada. The tier supply change. Well, right now the front end of the US is still made pretty much. The US have managed to make a mountain defense and just wolfing onslaught of troops and stuff. But the UN come into clutch. They talked to the wolfing leader, also known as dictator Woofia, Lewis, to discuss about peace in North and South America. The UN say, I change my sentences. The UN say, why are you doing this to the North and South America continent? And let's say, well, we want some big influence in the region. And the UN, accounting for occupied nations, like Panama and Costa Rica as well, vote on whether Woofia could keep their influence and gain even more influence. Sorry, I was distracted by a bud on my curtains. And not Woofia, let's decide to put out all the ships for gaining the influence and stability in entire two continents. I'm not going through a peace treaty in this scenario because that would take a long time. Well, I do have ability to pause, but that would take a long time to like draw the borders and stuff. Well, it won't actually draw the borders. We draw the borders on the map. In the peace treaty, actually, all the nations, all the occupied nations, all the area of the nations will be given back to the national shelf. Alright, Panama and Costa Rica will be independent again. All the occupied regions of Ecuador, is it Ecuador? I don't even know what this nation called. They will regain the island and the occupied and their lands back. Same thing with Mexico, the US, and Canada. We regain all their territories. Even than that, if we draw like an hour-long video, entire two continents will not exist as independent nations. With their own cultures, their own languages. Oh, I suppose these guys are here. And with that, the scenario is 5 in order, and I hope you guys enjoy and see you guys next time. Goodbye.